thanks for tuning in to Starting 11, everybody. It's a busy week on the pitch, a busy week off the pitch, especially for some clubs that make me gnash my teeth at night. And I can't sleep, but we'll be covering what happened there later on in the show as well. Adelia Chamberlain, not with us today. On assignment, guys. On assignment for the network. And she should be back next week, unless, she's kidnapped or something. But speaking of the network, we have a couple words from our pal, Justin, to get us started.
Hey guys, it's Justin, aka Hambone, just here to let you know a couple of things that we have going on with the channel. One, we have a Patreon. If you can and want to support us, you can do that. Little as $1. You can join the Discord. We also have a merch store where you can get some cool shirts, mugs, and stuff with all of our different shows and labels on there. And thank you for all of our supporters that have already been there with us.
We're back. Like the Premier League is back after a couple weeks international break. So get started early Saturday morning for us. It's should have been a marquee matchup. It's a rematch of a pretty big upset earlier in the year. Liverpool taking on Man City, this time at the Etihad, and it's Liverpool striking first. Salah, pretty good play by Jota, blocking the ball off and a cross into the box, or a pass into the box, just backing up, and nobody covered Salah. So he said, thank you very much. Deposited the ball in the net. That's when the good times end for the Liverpuglians. It's 4 straight goals for City after that. Julian Alvarez will tie it 10 minutes later. De Bruyne, a nice goal. Gundogan and Jack Grealish, who was frigging everywhere for City, and at one time, the biggest transfer money in English history, is now living up to it because he has been fantastic for City. Let's move on to the next match because, it's a full slate. We got some other things to talk about here at the end. It's Bournemouth and Fulham, and it's prayer scoring to put Fulham up first. But Tavernier will level it. And that goal was gorgeous. He's near the top of the box. A far curling shot into the top corner. And then Solanke scores. Solanke scores because Leno takes a ball, just kind of a bad rebound. Then Robinson's in front, and he does nothing. He just kind of watches the ball go up against him. But Solanke was like, guys, I'm just gonna put this in if you don't. It's not gonna bother you too much. So Solanke deposits it in the net. Really not much fight from Fulham in this one, and they should be pretty disappointed with themselves. Let's see. I think that drops. Fulham is now in 10th spot. There's some other movement in the 9th and 11th spot. Again, I'll get into that. Let's see what's happening with good old Bournemouth. Climbed out of the relegation zone. They now have 27 points. They are Southampton, poor buggers. They're gonna be gone. They're at 23 points now. It's a tough road. They've played more games too. So we'll see what's gonna happen with them. But climbing into 16th spot, 17th spot. So good for them. Hard work. I like the Solanke guy. I thought he's been good all year. Let's see. The next match features another London club, this time up north. And this is our co-host's favorite squad, her favorite squadron, Arsenal. Yeah, no problem defeating Leeds. Let's see who scores for. Oh yes, the one thing I wanted to mention. Okay, Gabby Jesus is back. He's been back for a couple weeks. He gets a tap on the knee and somehow flies forward, Superman style. He is awarded a penalty, which I thought was a bit ridiculous, but Good for him. He steps up and he steps up and makes the play. There's going to be some weird calls towards the end of the week. Kind of the last game played, but we'll talk about that more when we get to it. I want to talk about Martinelli's vision and absolute class, uh, finding a cross shot for Ben White to score a goal, and it just went through it. Like, you want to talk threading a needle, he must have gone through 7, 8 sets of legs. Finds this guy on the run to deposit. That's just well Arsenal's working this year. It's weird. It's weird. This isn't the Arsenal that I know and dislike. They are an Arsenal that uh, actually shows pride with themselves, which is stunning. Gabby Hizay scores another one. Rasmus Christensen gets a weird goal back for Leeds. He kind of hits it off Zinchenko's back and into the net. I thought that was odd. It's a fluky way to get one across, but it all counts for him. Tears up the clean sheet, but Granit Xhaka will also score for Arsenal, who had no problems. And the table leaders, where are they going to lose points? Where are they going to lose points? Like, it's going to have to be like losses now to get City back into it. Even though looking at City, they've been playing. Mind you, City did that without Erling Haaland too, so they're finding goals as well. Now, next game we're going to cover is what we were talking about may have been the match of the week. A match I was certainly looking forward to. It's Brighton and Brentford, and finishes 3-3. And Brentford kept taking leads, like they would score, and then Brighton would get one back. They would score, Brighton would get one back, and then they'd score again, and then, like I'll say, Matoma, of course, scores for Brighton. Danny Welbeck, Danny Welbeck's come back. He's back. Pontus Jensen, Ivan Toney, of course, scored for Brentford, but it's a handball that kind of does in Brentford here on this one. It's 6 minutes into extra time, and got to keep your hands down, guys. This was a clear call. And then Alexis McAllister goes up and deposited it for a draw. Really was a terrific match. Brighton now 6th spot. Like, Brighton is in the 6th spot, and Brentford's in 7th. How is this happening? They're both at 43 points. So, a win would have been a big deal for either one of these teams. But just to see those two teams where they are at this point of the season, what are we left? 10 games left. Brighton, I think, has a dozen. Yeah, unbelievable stuff. Good for them. Good for them. It's a fluke year, guys. Good for you. Deserve a Wiggins. Good job, buddy. Palace 2, Leicester 1. Roy Hodgson. All right. Roy Hodgson out of retirement, back on the sidelines for Crystal Palace. Gets a win. Good for him. And for Brendan Rodgers, it's goodbye. And I don't think that he was sacked. I think this is the thing where he just said, enough's enough. Leicester has dropped into the relegation zone. I believe they are 18th, 19th. They're 19th. Oh boy. Yeah, so Brendan Rodgers, the captain, should go down with the ship. Sure. He's done lots for that team. Won their only FA Cup. I'm trying to remember who they beat for that. It doesn't come to mind. But yeah, it's Mateta coming on the 80s, who came on in the 86th minute, gets a winner in extra time. Good for you. Yeah, Palace, they needed the win. Crystal Palace is now in 12th spot. I think their spot should be relatively safe. Who knows? They might take Chelsea spot yet too. Forest and Wolves. Now, I've mentioned before, I like this Brendan Johnson kid, but he's pretty hit or miss. This time he was a hit. He scores. And then Adama Traore has a clear path to net, is grabbed by the shoulder, and is brought down. Now, we keep mentioning every every episode how big Adama Traore is. He is a large and powerful man. Now the shoulder, probably not enough to take him down. It'd be enough to take down anybody else. And he goes down. I think he gets a call just because of his actual size. I think that was a poor case of refereeing. But it's Daniel Potence. Doesn't matter. Daniel Potence equalizes in the 83rd minute. And then, towards the end of the game, there's a little scuffle going around. And it sure looks to me like Daniel Potence spits at Brendan Johnson. Like, spit, like, out of his face. Like, a la, like that Harry Styles, Chris Pine thing. Looking at him. It's like, and VAR goes back and looks and doesn't call anything. And I guess they didn't have proof or whatever. So, yeah, it's just like Harry Styles. They never had proof he spit on him either, but we know he did. We know he did. Do we? Legally, I can't say we did. And then the next game, the game that finished up the Saturday schedule, Chelsea losing at Stamford Bridge to Aston Villa. This is the first time Chelsea has lost at home to Aston Villa since 2000 and goddamn 11. It's just something we don't do. We are doing things we've never done, like lose to Tottenham of all goddamn teams. We lose the double against Southampton, like the Saints. We're losing the Villa at home. We can't put teams away. Let's start with the game first. We'll start with the game first. I'll talk about what happened after or later, like the next day, like the next night. It took a while, but we'll talk about that after we're finished talking the rest of the week first here. It's Ollie Watkins scoring with the assist from my good friend Mark Cucurella, who plays an absolutely terrible header trying to clear it off the back of his head towards net. And for some reason, Kepa was out near the D, and Watkins just puts it over him. No problem for the first goal. To say Chelsea didn't have their chances, Chelsea had 25 shots on net. Mudryk, good chances. João Felix, buddy, if the net was only 5 feet over, you would have scored 3 goals. Unfortunately, you keep putting it 5 feet wide every time you kick. It's a pretty big net, guys. It's pretty big. There's lots of it. It's not like Fernandez is a big, big man. Just put it at the net. Come on. I mean, bananas. It looked like Ben Chilwell scored, and it got rolled back, and just so it's friggin' frustrating. And John McGinn scores from a long way out to wrap it up and make it 2-0. And yeah, what are they supposed to do now? We're hearing lots of things like how they Potter had 2 weeks to prepare for this match, but I've heard that what they were practicing, everything that was going leading up to this match, the players decided, no, we're going to do it our own way, which is a thing. If it happened, then yeah, it doesn't look well on them. It certainly doesn't on the manager. It just shows that there was no confidence. We'll talk about that after. The next day, West Ham wins in a match. Good for them. Snav Eckert with the only goal. David Moyes still has a job, guys. What are you going to do? David Moyes. And then another big match, Newcastle against Man United. And Newcastle absolutely dominated. No Casemiro, don't go getting sent off in red cards and being suspended for matches and stuff like that if you don't want to be off the pitch. But guys, like Man United lost 7-0 to Liverpool. So they only lost 2-0 in this match. It could have been 5 or 6-0. I thought the game was pretty good. And a lot of missed opportunities, like sending the balls off the posts and putting it over the net and wide. Like Newcastle dominated this game from beginning to end, and it was never close. I would say like Man U competed in that first half against Liverpool. They got they let the one goal from Rashford in late, or they let the one goal in late, not for Russia in a 7-0 game. They let the one goal in late in the first half, and the second half they kind of fell apart. But at least it looked like they gave a shit. They did not. Like Newcastle just ran over them. Newcastle in third. Newcastle in third in the Premier League of English football. It's bananas. Man U's dropped down to fifth. Brighton is 7 points out with a game in hand on Man U. Man U's has not looked great. Do I see Brighton somehow gaining 7 points on them, or Brentford? Brentford has one more game played. Yeah, so it'd be up to Brighton maybe to steal a European spot from Manchester United, and that'd be another incredible story. Then we're going to talk about the game that happened today, and we're recording this on the Monday. Everton against everyone's favorite, the Tottenham Hotspurs. Um, there was no scoring in the first half. There was chances. Takure had a header that went over the net. He had a great chance, and he absolutely flubbed his header. But there was a lot of clutching, a lot of grabbing, a lot of pushing. The referee was David Cope. I think he let too much stuff go. You could see everyone getting frustrated. You could see the players getting angry at every call, well, every non-call. Yeah, because he wasn't blowing the whistle for anything. Like he had a plane to catch. So that ends the first half. They get off. They come back on. The second half, Harry Kane pushes down Damari Gray from behind, and there's a whistle. And he gets mixed up with Abdoulaye Doucouré, and they hold on to each other. Kane has him by the shirt. Gray is enough. He tries to swat his hand off him, misses his hand, soccer player, and brushes against his chin. Harry Kane takes a moment and then falls to the ground, covers his face like he had been friggin' sucker punched by Mike Tyson. He was down. It was unbelievable. So Curry's shown a red card. All right. Uh, yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, I like it. Like when I first saw it, I was pretty upset with the call. It's like, you got to be kidding. At some point, VAR has to just say enough acting. You want this shit to continue, though, I guess. But you can't touch a guy like that. You can't pretend to swat him. It was a brain-dead play by Doucouré. But again, I think this is all build up from what was happening in the first half, and there was no calls being made. There was not. There was more pushing and grabbing and holding. Incredible what was going on. Uh, and then, yeah, Michael Keane takes Romero down by kicking his ankles in the box. At first, I was like, "Oh, he didn't even hit him." And I saw another replay. Okay, he did. So who goes up to put the ball in the net from the penalty spot? Of course, I'm miraculously healed, and thank goodness, Harry Kane. He made it back, guys, like a hero champion. Uh, Soccer or football is can have a bit of karma in it though, because in the 87th minute, like Everton, really after that, Everton took over the play. They were a man down, but they held the play. They were the ones forcing everything. And this time, Keane is running up the ice, and he gets spiked. And I can't even remember who was doing it. Oh. Anyways, he gets spiked. So now Tottenham's off. Tottenham's down to 10 men as well. And again, more Everton pressure, more Everton pressure. And it's Michael Keane who finds the ball outside the box and hammers a cannonball, an absolute cannonball into the net. Lewis didn't even move. He just watched. There was nothing he could do. Pretty incredible. That was at the 90th minute. They held on to strip Tottenham of 2 points. 2 points that they didn't deserve. Like at no way did they deserve to win this game. So, karma. There you go. Sometimes it works out for the good guys too. Speaking of the good guys, uh, every week, Dealey and I pick out who's going to win each match. And now we've had a couple of weeks in between or whatever. I had to go back, see who won, see who we picked. Turns out for this week, I think I won. I won 5-4. I won 5-4 because of that Brentford draw I picked. So there you go. That's why you pick those draws, guys, because every once in a while something comes in. Now, guys, the week starts on Tuesday. There's 16 games this week. Thank you, World Cup. Thank you, international breaks. Thank you, FA Cup ties and everything else. They got to fit all kinds of matches in. So you'll see a bunch of matches played, starting right away with Bournemouth and Brighton. Uh, again, uh, Bournemouth, you know, had a good week, but Brighton's been quite good. I think, yeah. So Adelia and I both decided Brighton and Hove Albion would win. Leeds at home to Forest. It's an important match. Not for glory or anything, but like just to try and keep out of the bottom here. Leeds currently in 18th spot in the zone, 26 points. Nottingham just a point ahead of them in 16th. So really is all to play for Leeds at home. Adelia believes it's going to be a draw. I think Leeds pulls this one out. Forest, if it was at home, I'd give it to them. I like their play at home much better than they are on the road, where they are pretty bad. Like they're not great on the road. Leicester versus Villa. We've picked Villa. We've each picked Villa to beat the Foxes, rudderless Foxes. Some names come up who could show up on their sidelines at some point. I think right now they're not going to worry about it because it's just so quick to get into the matches here. So I believe they play again. They play again Saturday. So I highly doubt they'll have a manager in place before the end of the week. Maybe not till the end of the year when they can have a broader chance at getting anyone that would accept the job. Actually, it's not like they can pick whoever they want or whatever. Someone has to want to go to Leicester. Leicester. All right. Chelsea and Liverpool. Speaking of rudderless, again, I'm going to get into it in a minute. Adelia, that's called the draw. She's probably right. I say Chelsea's going to win because my heart is broken enough. Man U and Brentford. Okay, so Adelia's picking Manchester United. I'm picking Brentford. This is in Manchester. That it's Old Trafford. I get it, but their form has been terrible. They haven't scored a league goal since mid-February. Of course, that's only 3 matches, whatever it is, just because of all the FA Cup and stuff that they've had to play. Now, I picked Brentford. I really like their form that they're in. I really like to see Manchester beat. I'd love to see them squirm. Chelsea's bad this year, guys. We're bad. So I have to take my pleasure in others' misery. So yeah, if Manchester United is miserable, I'm all for it. West Ham, Newcastle. We both picked Newcastle. I don't think that comes as any surprise to anybody. It looks like they've got their swagger back. It was missing for a few weeks, and they look like they're in real good form once again, getting goals from everyone. What do we got next? We're back to Man U again. This time against Everton, and this time at Old Trafford. This is just they play Wednesday, they play Saturdays, so not much time to prepare. But they are preparing against Everton, who have been better under Sam Dyche for sure. I don't expect them to lose. I expect them to lose against Brentford, but I don't expect them to lose against Everton, and neither does Adelia. We both picked Manchester to win. Villa and Forest again. They're at home, playing so much better under Emery than they were over with Steven Gerrard. We both have Villa to be Forest. Could put Forest in a tough spot. Could put them in a tough spot. Brentford is playing again, this time against Newcastle, in what could be another marquee matchup for the weekend. They're playing in London. They're playing Brentford. Now we got. I'm picking a draw because I'm a coward, and I didn't want to pick a winner. I was like, oh, this looks like a good candidate for a draw. Hopefully, another 2-2, 3-3 draw. That'd be great. Adelia has guts and has picked Newcastle to win on the road and continue their climb up the table. See, I think that by now they can basically guarantee themselves European football, but Champions League. Like if it's a big win against Brentford, you can pencil them in. You almost penciled in ink. Is that even a thing? Don't ask me. Fulham and West Ham at Craven's Cottage, and we both picked Fulham. You know, David Moyes still has a job. Leicester, Bournemouth. I would imagine they're still the rudderless Leicester Foxes. Adelia's picking them. It's just Bournemouth. I picked a draw because maybe neither team wants to win. Maybe they don't care. Spurs, Brighton. This is at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because nobody wants to be associated with Tottenham. Adelia's picked Brighton, which would be remarkable, and I think they're in much better form. I picked a draw because there's no way I can pick Tottenham to beat anybody, and especially anybody half good. Then Chelsea is on the road at Wolverhampton, and I like the way Wolves have been playing lately, but I still say Chelsea wins. Adelia agrees with me. Again, we'll talk about management and stuff in a second for those guys. Man City gets Southampton this week. It's an easy choice. It's Southampton. Kidding. It's Man City. Man City for both of us. Leeds and Palace. Adelia thinks it's going to be a draw. I'm picking Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, better. They're just better than Leeds. Like Crystal Palace is that definitive mid-table squad. Like they're going to finish probably 12th spot, which is it's good for them to change managers in the season and still have no risk of being relegated. So yeah, good for you. Good for you. And then the last match of the week, Liverpool and Arsenal. This is in Liverpool. Now, Adelia, of course, is Arsenal. And I was talking earlier, when does Arsenal drop points? This might be the match that they drop points. I'm not saying they're going to lose. I think there's going to be a draw. Arsenal just plays that way against the top teams. For some reason, they get it together. They can beat those guys. They've beaten City. They've beaten Man United, if you want to consider them a top team. But they can beat top teams on any given day. It just really depends on the kind of form they're in. And I just see like a 1-1 draw, like a maybe even it's a late goal. But yeah, I just see Arsenal just having a bit of a letdown in this week. So we'll see. Plus, it'll make the last couple of weeks more interesting for me, and it might make it a little more brutal for Adelia. But a little pressure. It gives you some constitution. Gets you a little bit of character. Speaking of characters, so Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, the reports started coming in for Graham Potter is going to be let go from the Chelsea Football Club. He was brought in uh, earlier this year when Thomas Tuchel was decided that he wouldn't be isn't going to be part, but this is by ownership. Was the ownership decided he wasn't going to be part of their long-term project uh, at Stamford Bridge. They wanted to bring in someone new, someone maybe younger, like he's not even younger. Just wanted somebody like with different kind of tactics and stuff like that. It's like the fans the fans weren't happy, but I was okay with it. We started off this year with Thomas Tuchel, and we looked terrible. We looked terrible. We had some wins. We were in sixth spot. We were okay, but we didn't look like we were Chelsea Football Club. Uh, so we bring in a guy that had Brighton looking good. Um, in Graham Potter, we had to pay them $21 million to get this guy. We paid him an awful lot of money a year. There'll be more on that later. He gave us 22 games in the British Premier League. Those games, he had 7 wins. He had 7 draws and 8 losses. This is Chelsea Football Club. That is like they had scored 21 goals and allowed 21 goals. They were shut out 9 friggin' times. Uh, he's a man who had 64 different changes to his lineup in the first 15 games. He's a kid, like I've mentioned this on the show before. He's like a kid who just got a whole bunch of brand new toys. It's like Christmas morning. And he kept wanting to play with all of them, play with all of them, play with all of them, and didn't know what to do with them and left a big mess. He just left a mess. Don't really know. Like I think in the last 14 games, he had 2 times where he had the same starting lineup for his forwards twice. Now, a lot of that's due to injury, but a lot of that's just due to indecision and bad decisions and playing guys out of position. And not like that resting Reece James for that match was. I'll still go back to that and think I just didn't understand. Here's the big deal for me about Graham Potter. Where was the passion? Like, like this little calm demeanor and stuff like that is gonna work at Brighton. Hell, it might work at Leicester. They're looking for somebody. You'd be fine there. This is Chelsea Football Club. We are the big stage. Like we are the big stage. Like United, Liverpool, whatever. City now. City was nothing. City was nothing until 12 years ago. Who gives a shit about City? And they're going to revert back to nothing. There's going to be a point where City just goes back to nothing. They won't even be, they'll get relegated at some point in the next 15 years. City isn't a big deal. I'm sorry, any City fans. You're just not a big deal. Chelsea's a big deal. Um, when your captain gets kicked in the head, he gets knocked out on the pitch, and the ref does nothing about it, and you stand there watching like this, you're going to get walked over. They're going to walk over you. You have to fight back. You have to take red cards from the ref every once in a while. You have to fight. You have to fight. You have to say, this isn't good enough. It's not good enough. You have to make a goddamn stink. You can't let him get kicked in the head. Like, Dave's probably never going to play for Chelsea. Well, Dave was probably going to be leaving after this year anyways, but to have his career go out like that, like the guy lifted the goddamn Champions League trophy for you, the Club World Cup trophy. You just let him lie there in the grass. Who wants to fight for this guy? Who would want to fight for this guy? You have all these players. You have all this talent. All this money gets splashed. You're sitting guys like Mudryk and stuff like that. You're playing them wrong. You're putting your buddy Cucurella out there on the same side, playing him with Mount behind him, and those two are playing back and forth and thinking about going back all the whole time. Negative progression? This is Chelsea fucking Football Club. This is frigging nuts. Go forward. You attack. You aren't scared of them. They have to be scared of us. He made us soft. He made us soft. He made us look weak. So now he goes. They pay him £13 million. Now to say, yeah, it's not that I don't feel bad for that. I do feel bad. Did I want it to work? Of course. His success is Chelsea's success. But the writing was on the wall earlier. It was strange. All these decisions were strange. You go and spend money on like Alba, and you just let him sit on the bench. When everyone knows you need a striker, no one else is scoring. You need a pure goal scorer in there. Someone will fight. Someone will get forward and just shoot. And playing guys so far back. The whole Kai Havertz thing. It's tough. It was tough. So he's gone. He's gone. Potter's out. The hashtag has come true. Now, not even under the former owner, whose name won't be mentioned, who had a reputation as being cutthroat, when he fired Carlo Ancelotti in the tunnel after a defeat on the road. Chelsea was in 5th place at the time. Have we ever sacked 2 managers in one season? It's never been done. So now in walks Bruno Saltor. Bruno Saltor is going to be the interim manager of Chelsea Football Club. Bruno Saltor, former Brighton, I guess, legend, because he helped get the club out of the English Championship League into the Premier League back in 2017. So good for him. He has never in his life picked a starting 11. Not once. He's never picked a starting 11. So we're going from a guy who had trouble keeping the same starting 11 to a guy that's never done it. And the guy who has one day of practice. They had today to run because they play tomorrow versus Liverpool at home. This week, he gets to also go to Wolverhampton. And then next week, on my birthday, they have to go to the Bernabeu and play Real frigging Madrid. That'll be his 3rd match ever in charge of a professional football squad, of any football squad. I don't even know if he started like picked a kid's starting 11. Yeah, it just adds to the story. Todd Bowley has found success in baseball. I believe he's found success in other endeavors. He seems to be worth quite a bit of money. But sometimes the decisions, and the sacking him on a weird time on the Sunday, like at night, like, is there just too many people in too many people's ears? It used to be down to one guy. One guy had the decision. That was it. And it's a differently run club. And I guess us as fans have to get used to it. Hopefully they figure it out. One good thing is supposedly Bully and his partner are going to be staying out of at least the first rounds of interviews with the potential managers coming in. I do want to say, and I'm disappointed that Bruno Saltor is the interim manager. I would have loved to have seen Emma Hayes, who coaches our ladies team, even get the shot there. All she's ever had is success. Maybe bring in a guy like John Terry, who's the president of the women's club or whatever, just to be on the sidelines with her or something like that. Everybody knows her at the club, respected by everybody there, all teams. I just thought it would be a shame. Like, get rid of all of them. Like, why are we keeping these Brighton people? Get them out. Keeping Bruno Salter. What? Why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense why we kept him. It makes no sense to me at all. Now, let's go on to some quick. I was watching. I've been watching everything, trying to read everything. Now, the score and the score.ca, I should say, and the Guardian are both reporting that Chelsea wants to talk to five guys. The first one is obvious in Julian Nagelsmann, former manager at Bayern, who, funnily enough, was sacked so they could hire Thomas Tuchel, former Chelsea manager. So it's all, it's all odd. But Christopher Vavell and our sporting director Lawrence Stanley have both worked with Nagelsmann before over at RB Leipzig. Now, young, 35 years old, at success, 70% winning percentage in the Bundesliga. Pretty good. I think they were in second spot or something like that when they fired him, and he hadn't lost a match in the Champions League. Now, I've also heard that he doesn't like to play wingers, right? He plays wingers pretty far forward. I'm pretty sure that Reece James and Ben Chilwell might have a couple problems with this, but we'll see. We'll see. Now, a lot of people are saying it's going to be his job if he wants it. I've heard that he's going to want to take the rest of the year off or whatever, and I can't blame him. Why come in now? It doesn't make any sense. I would I'd be happy with him. I wouldn't be unhappy with him. There's a couple of names on here that just won't work. But he's not the guy I want. I want somebody else on this list. But yeah, he would fit Bully's project. Like, he'd grow with the team basically. Uh, One of the guys I do not want, Mauricio Pochettino, former PSG, and of course Tottenham Hotspur's manager. Yeah, we don't take Tottenham's leftovers. They take ours. That's the rule. Mourinho, Conte. We don't take Pochettino. Pochettino had a stacked PSG and couldn't get it done. I would not want him at the helm of Chelsea Football Club. If he does, I'll back him. I'll back everyone. But it does not feel right. One of my favorite memories, again, of a bad year that Chelsea wasn't competing very well in, when the Tottenham has the chance to win the league and they have to come to Stamford Bridge and Eden Hazard decides to take that from them. One of my favorite football memories of all time, just to see their despair. I loved it. Ruben Amorim. It's an interesting one. Again, young, 38 years old. Won the Portuguese title with Sporting Lisbon 2 seasons ago, 2021. Took out Adelia's Arsenal this year. I think we've had good success with poaching managers from the Portuguese leagues before. Right, boss? You did pretty well for us a couple of times, more so the first time. But interesting. I don't know much about Sporting Lisbon. I don't watch much Portuguese football, but there's a lot of people really high on this guy, and I guess they play a very fast form of football, which I enjoy. So yes, I will keep my eye out. Maybe I'll try and find more matches featuring Ruben Amorim. Oliver Glasner, another one. It's okay. He won the Europa League with Frankfurt, and Frankfurt. They just got knocked out of the Champions League, but Yeah, that one's a bit of a stretch. You know, if we're gonna go for a German guy or an Austrian guy or whatever, I think it's just go to Nagelsmann. But I think we have guys on the selection committee that are going to be talking to the coaches. I've worked with Glasner before, or at least have a relationship with him. So yeah, I could see why he's going to get talked to. You know, again, it's a big club he has to go to. It's a big club he has to go to. Finally, the guy that I would like to see at the helm of Chelsea Football Club is Luis Enrique. Despite him not being able to get things done with Spain uh, in the World Cup, thing that sets him above all these other guys is that he's frigging won. He's won. He's won the Champions League. He's won La Liga, of course, the Club World Cup, and he's managed superstars. Like, not just big stars. He's managed superstars. Messi, Neymar, Suarez. You had to have them all working together, and he got it done. Like, you would imagine he'd be able to get guys like Havertz and Mudryk or Enzo. Some like you got to get these players playing together. Find a way to win together. You need a man who's going to be there, who's going to be big as them. Someone that they can look up to. Someone who says, "No, you don't do it. Follow what he says. It finds success." He's never coached in England, but that hasn't stopped guys from coming in and winning before. He's played his old teammate Pep Guardiola. Did pretty good when he came over, I guess. Although Pep Guardiola has never, will never, ever win the Champions League with City. Other names being thrown around: Zinedine Zidane. It's like he's a quitter. Yeah, he's successful. Like, he played for Real Madrid, and he quit on them managing twice. He quit twice. So yeah. Also, De Zerba's name was like, I think we've had our fill with raiding Brighton's goddamn cupboards. All right, so stay the hell away from that, guys. It was a big week. It was a big week for Chelsea Football Club. Big week in the Premier League, but a huge week coming up. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, especially Kristen, if you're still listening. Guys, we got plenty going on the channel. We've got playoff beards. Just dropped an episode. Going to be having another episode in the next couple weeks, setting up the NHL Stanley Cup tournament. As soon as we figure out who all the teams are, Adelia and I will be back to handicap who's going to go forward in those, and then I'll be doing as much as I can coming onto the show, talk about the games the nights they happen, especially if a certain team from Winnipeg makes it in, but it's a tough go right now. Plenty going on elsewhere on our main network, LGRN. Adelia has a show. What were they wearing? They did it with Brandy and Star, and that is a lot of fun. Talk about Oscar fashion, guys. Something I would know too much about. All I do is look sharp. Look at this shirt right here. You can get at the merch store we told you about beginning of the show. Guys, looks good. You can get married in this shirt, get buried in this shirt, everything in between. Thanks everybody so much for tuning in. Snark, you can try and follow me at Snark Yeti on Twitter. Guys, not a good follow. Stay tuned. We will be back next week to wrap up a lot. And I swear to God, I'm only going to talk a couple lines from each game, except maybe the Chelsea game. We'll see how Bruno does in this first two match. Oh my God, it's not going to be good. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.